Hey everybody, a little follow-up on the video I did for a low coolant on my 2020 Ram 2500 Cummins. Took it in for a low coolant light when it was not low. Dealer tried to replace the sensor. I did a video on the sensor, testing it and checking it and replacing that if you have to. 99% sure most of the time when you get that light, it is not your sensor. If you do some research, you'll find that the coolant bottles do in fact get full of junk. That is not fluid, this is empty. That is all the buildup from the coolant inside the tank. And the sensor slides in to this little port, which is not in contact with the fluid. It is just an encased plastic section. And if you listen to the float, that float comes over that sensor and activates a magnet if it drops below. And what happens is the magnet gets stuck down with all the gunk. This is the sensor that slides up into there. Does not come in contact with the fluid, but I have a video that explains that. Unfortunately, I did not video replacing or removing this reservoir, but before I get any further, reservoirs here, it may seem like it takes longer, but it wasn't bad. You will find an advantage in removing your wheel well cover. It's just a bunch of 8mm screws coming around the rim. There's a couple that go up in the back here, and then two clips. And then you can pull that whole liner out, but you can see that you'll have way better access to the sensor plug and that stuff. And then there is one mounting stud on the bottom side here. Without taking this off, I don't believe it would be very easy to get to. I also, because I'm doing some other stuff, I had already pulled the battery and I knew I was going to replace this, and so with the battery right here, I could just tell it was going to be in the way right off the bat. So I pulled the battery out anyway, and then upon trying to get this out, because everything's kind of right here, you're going to want to just remove the studs that hold. There's one here, one here, one here, and then one on the inside. So there's 4 studs on the top. And then there are 2 studs underneath there, and that will allow you the battery box to just kind of move enough. You don't have to take it completely out because there's other stuff attached, but it will move enough that you can pull this bottle out. And the bottle just has a couple of wire harnesses clipped to it. Otherwise, it's just a stud there. Stud on the other side of that little thing, and then one screw that mounts that bracket to it, and then the one underneath that I showed you, and then the hose underneath is easy to get to. These 2 hoses had crimp-on hose clamps, so you'll have to get a couple new hose clamps to put on there, but that's pretty much it. And then you can slide this whole bottle out. You just got to kind of come up at a little bit of an angle and then move the battery box around a little bit. Once you get past this hump here, it kind of rotates. It'll rotate out. I found the easiest to go like that, and then it comes out. And then the new one, you want to start this side of it in and kind of rotate it in. And then once you kind of get it down in there, it pretty much drops in, and then put it on the bottom stud first, and then just kind of lift it up and slide it onto these. Clip your wires back on, new hose clamps, put your 2 tubes on there, and the bottom tube, and then your sensor plugs back in right there. That one is, if I get it to focus here, that's the style. You just got to take a pick or one of those small little pry bar things or screwdriver, and pop that back, pull that tab back, and then you can push down on press in on the tab with the screwdriver, and it pops right off. So don't forget to hook that back up to your sensor, which is not probably the problem when the dealer tells you to. So that part, like I said, taking this wheel well out makes life pretty easy. It doesn't take very long to remove, so I would recommend doing that right off the bat. The battery, I don't think you could get it out without that as well. Just be careful if you haven't removed the second battery that you still have 12 volts on those terminals. I have both batteries unhooked as I am doing a delete kit on this as well with the EGR. So all my batteries are disconnected, so I don't have, but you can see before I did that, I slid a kind of a rubber glove over the one terminal so that things didn't hit together until I got both batteries disconnected. So just be careful with that. And once you get that out and you're doing that, this comes out fairly simple, I would say. Nothing too complicated. So hope that helps.